Darth Theorist, rise.
What if Maul and Savage killed Sidious on Mandalore? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. The throne room of Sundari trembles with the sound of clashing blades as all three run at each other. Maul and Savage Opress press forward, their crimson sabers flashing in perfect rhythm against the whirling storm of Darth Sidious. Yet Palpatine blocks each strike, his movements graceful and precise despite his age. Sidious laughs, a sharp and cruel sound as his twin blades whirl around. He moves with inhuman speed, rushing in between them, cutting and stabbing from impossible angles. Maul grits his teeth, every muscle straining as he blocks. Savage bellows like a beast, sweeping his heavy saberstaff at him.
Fools.
He parries both blows with one hand and uses the other to unleash a surge of lightning. But Maul leaps forward, roaring, locking Sidious's blades and forcing him to direct his focus on him.
This is my empire. You shall not take it from me.
You were always nothing, my broken apprentice, and this empire dies with you.
He suddenly reverses his grip and slams his weapon downward, sending shockwaves across the ground. It sends Maul skidding to the side, struggling to absorb the strike. To his side, Savage comes running in a brutal diagonal slash. It is clumsy, but its strength carries it forward and knocks one of Palpatine's lightsabers aside. Maul takes this chance and lunges, shoving his weapon aside and using his overhand to grab Palpatine's wrist. He squeezes and hears bones cracking, but the pain distracts his former long enough for Maul to throw him over his shoulder and onto the marble tiles. The ground cracks underneath the Sith Lord's back. His former apprentice raises his foot and tries to stomp down, but Palpatine rolls aside. As he jumps to his feet, he barely blocks Maul's strike, leaving the two locked in a battle of wills. Then Savage dives in, slashing low, severing Sidious's leg at the knee. The Sith Lord collapses, his cackle twisting into a shriek. He tries to summon the Force, his free hand trembling with sparks of lightning, but Savage slams him to the ground, pinning him down for Maul to approach.
I am the Sith, and you are dead.
With one swift motion, Maul drives his saber down. The red blade sears through flesh and bone, silencing the Dark Lord forever. The throne room goes still. Savage staggers back, smoke rising from his chest, but he smiles through his pain. Maul rises slowly, chest heaving, staring at the smoldering corpse of his former master. The galaxy shifts in that instant. The dark side ripples outward, no longer bound to Sidious. Maul lifts his head toward the throne.
It's ours, brother. The galaxy is ours.
It was a bold boast, and just that, boasting. As Maul relaxes back on his throne, he considers the situation properly. The difference in power between his fledgling Shadow Collective is still quite vast compared to the CIS or the Republic. Almac says as much when he meets with him and his other captains and crime bosses.
If the Republic learns about this, they will throw their full power against us. They have far more soldiers and weapons than we do, Master. To fight them would be a dangerous plan.
It doesn't matter. We will fight them to the last to protect our home.
Then fight them alone. The Pikes are not an army. We will not send our dealers and enforcers to die in this war, especially not one where there is no profit.
The mighty Jabba concurs with the Pikes. We shall not commit ourselves to this, especially when we have a treaty with the Republic.
Calm yourselves, my friends. War with the Republic is not what I wish either. It would be pointless and only sap our strength. Then what's your plan, my lord? When my late master began his plan, the Republic was in decline. It teetered on the edge of destruction for so long. All he wished was to upset that balance, and by removing him, we have ensured that. Now all we must do is allow the rot he has cultivated to devour its body.
Slowly, his fellow crime bosses begin to smile. That they understand. To reap the rewards of chaos. The death of Palpatine causes a significant uproar in the Republic, especially since they do not know exactly what happened. Given the nature of this mission, few of his allies know where he went, and those who do remain tight-lipped. This leaves everyone trying to make sense of everything that's happened. They say the Chancellor died in a freak accident. Others claim that he was assassinated by the CIS. Still, others say he was ousted due to infighting in the Senate. Amidst this confusion, Maul begins to sow chaos. None of them realizes the full extent of his coalition with the rest of the crime bosses. This allows them to operate seemingly independently and slowly leak the rumors of Palpatine's death. First, Almec releases a public statement, revealing that Palpatine had died on a trip to the planet. There, he expresses his deepest apologies about the loss and offers to send his body back. The sight of Palpatine's corpse, its wounds covered with a shroud, is displayed all over the holonet, leaving few able to deny what happened. This at least tells people where Palpatine was, but it only leaves more questions than answers, as the rest of the Shadow Collective goes to work. This type of death raises uncomfortable questions, like why was he there, and why did he not inform the Senate? This breeds rumors, and the dealers and enforcers, the Pikes, Black Suns, and Hutts keep on the streets to fan them. Some of these rumors are complete nonsense, like Palpatine keeping a secret paramour, but here and there someone reveals the truth, that the Chancellor was actually a Sith or cooperating with Maul in some capacity. That alone is not enough to get people to take action, but even some Jedi wonder where such claims come from. And then Almec auctions off Palpatine's lightsaber to a collector of artifacts. Though the event was supposedly done in secret, in reality they made sure that the information would eventually leak to the Jedi. While the Senate is happy to dismiss these rumors, the Jedi are alarmed by them. They recall Dooku's warning about how he has a master serving within the highest echelons of the Senate. None of this is conclusive, but it begins to paint all the evidence to Palpatine. The Jedi Temple is heavy with silence. In the council chambers, voices clash like blades as they discuss these latest developments. Since the revelation of Palpatine's lightsaber, the Jedi Council has kept the Senate at arm's length. It is far too late to reveal anything now. If they say that they suspect the Sith had infiltrated the Senate, many would blame the Jedi and say they were withholding information. That is why they had hoped to find Palpatine, so they at least have something to show for it. Now they simply watch the Senate warily, wondering what their next move might be.
The Senate cannot be trusted. Evidence ties Palpatine to the Sith. We can no longer serve blindly beneath their corrupt masters.
Indeed. Having a Sith occupy the highest office for so long is incredibly troubling. Even with Palpatine gone, there is no telling how deeply this influence goes. How many of the senators might be compromised?
If we simply go along with the Senate's wishes, we could still be playing into Palpatine's hands. We must act and see who can be trusted.
Dangerous it is to oppose the Senate. Risk collapse if we act rashly. Risk alienating them from our cause.
We could frame it as an anti-corruption campaign. Palpatine's actions were suspicious even without being involved with the Sith. It could give us a cause to investigate further, and no one can oppose us without risking collapse.
Collapse already begun. It has. Yet push too hard, we must not. Patience, clarity, needed.
Far below Coruscant's shining spires, shadows spread. While the Jedi turns to the Senate and the Senate towards the army, the Shadow Collective moves where it has always thrived, the streets. The Pikes and Black Suns strengthen their influence within the core worlds. They smuggle spice by the freighter load into the lower levels, while those left destitute by the Republic's lack of care are recruited. Some work to sell spice, others are conscripted as foundlings within the Mandalorian army, and others serve various jobs within the cartels. Gang wars soon begin within the streets as they work to push out local gangs and secure their dominant position. Whole sectors turn into battlegrounds. Republic clone patrols are forced to intervene, draining troops away from the front. This divides the Republic's attention, much to the frustration of Warhawks. Jedi and senators both accuse each other of sabotaging the war effort. Some see the Shadow Collective as the true threat, and others see the CIS as the danger. At the front of this war are Anakin and Obi-Wan, who had seen the danger Maul and Savage pose. They both led efforts to raid drug dens, dismantle trafficking operations, and ambush ships. Under them, the campaign begins to pick up momentum, as territory is lost just as quickly as it's secured. While the syndicates are no match for the well-equipped clone army, they are aided on the Senate floor by the Hutts. Unlike their criminal counterparts, they have a veneer of legitimacy due to their alliance with the Republic. This allows them a chance to meet with senators and secure alliances. The Hutts, smiling from their gilded balconies, slip credits into desperate hands. With the instability, many sectors fear that their agendas cannot get done. Some worry about contracts being lost, others about supplies not arriving at their home systems. There, Hutts meet them and offer their aid. They promise to discreetly send support in exchange for favors. In the Senate Hall, senators begin voting against their own blocks, breaking ties that once seemed ironclad. a new group of neutral reformists emerges, calling for reduced Jedi oversight to expedite aid to their systems, unknowingly carrying out Maul's design. On Mandalore, Maul watches from the throne of Sundari, his yellow eyes reflecting the hollow projections of shadowy figures. Hutts, pike leaders, Faline princes, all bowing their heads.
And the Jedi grow suspicious of the Senate. The Senate grows suspicious of the Jedi. Their fear feeds the fire, and through that fire we shall rule.
Some of Count Dooku's allies have agreed to trade openly with us, our smuggler routes and trade connections for arms. I like that Newt Gunray. He sees profit, not politics.
Excellent. Continue operations with them. See how many more of their councils will prefer easy cooperation with us than conflict.
One place where the Senate and Jedi still enjoy some level of cooperation is regarding the military and the need to intervene on Mandalore. Though Almec initially appeared cooperative, they know that he overthrew the Duchess, and his increasing desire to keep Mandalore out of the war has raised suspicions. Many had hoped that he would prove to be open to joining the war effort. Thankfully, the death of Palpatine on his planet gives the Republic the legal justification to intervene. So now a massive fleet is gathered with the intention of invading Mandalore and liberating it from Death Watch's control. When Obi-Wan hears of this, he is one of the first to volunteer, leading an army to confront them. And when they reach the battlefield, it is like the Republic of old, as everyone works in tandem. The outposts and border forts the Mandalorians have set up to slow their advance are swiftly overturned, allowing them to make inroads into Mandalorian territory, even threatening the home system itself within a few weeks. However, the addition of these foundling recruits provides the Mandalorians with some much-needed muscle, and when they draw closer, they at last begin to blunt the Republic's advance. More importantly, the cracks in their seemingly united front begin to show. Across the battlefields, Obi-Wan and Anakin lead their army as effectively as ever. The two effortlessly cut through their defenses. The skies fill with the hum of fighter squadrons of Anakin's Starfighter Corps, which dominate the skies. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan leads the ground forces with a steady hand. Though he encounters every dirty trick the Mandalorians have to offer, he leads his troops from the front and guides them through the chaos. They overcome every obstacle the Mandalorians have to throw at them, but soon they almost seem to be at war with their own Republic as well. But Maul is ready. Informants within the underworld, Hutts in the Senate, and even the CIS partners in the shadows have already fed him the plan. While the Shadow Collective as a whole should at least let them put up a stronger resistance, Maul does not deploy them. Instead only relies on Death Watch for combat. Instead he deploys these to wage a shadow war. The senators on their payroll begin to work against the Republic, calling back some forces to handle threats in their home systems, while negligent sectors find their own worlds under attack by individual members hoping to expand there. And some crooked senators vote to redirect supplies to other fronts, seeing the CIS as the larger threat. By the time they reach Concordia, they find themselves running low on ammunition and facing delays in supply drops. Anakin curses this, as his forces strafe a mining shaft that is being used as a hideout. His ships easily knock out the enemy starfighters, and he prepares a bombing run. However, before he can give the all-clear signal for the Y-Wings to begin their run, his comlink crackles.
No, Anakin. We can't destroy this base. There are supplies here we can use, which means leaving them intact. Master, with how deep those shafts run, we could be walking right into an ambush. We need to fight for every inch of ground we take there. Believe me, I don't like this any more than you do. However, I don't have the supplies to strike at Mandalore, and we'll need everything we can get. All right, but you realize we can't invade Mandalore if we lose too many men here. I know, Anakin. Good luck.
Instead, Anakin and his squadron break off for Obi-Wan and his infantry to land. They rappel down the mine shafts, and it is just as Anakin predicted. Sections are rigged to blow. Mandalorian warriors hide in the shadows and lash out with flamethrowers or vibroblades, while heavy infantry guard choke points. The battle is horrific, and at times, Obi-Wan's lightsaber is the only light these troopers get. He presses himself forward, systematically wiping out the Mandalorian resistance. After days of fighting and more casualties than he dares to count, they at least capture the base and begin setting up. The fleet moves closer, preparing to invade the planet itself as they await their supply ships. After a few days, a small flotilla emerges, but the fleet captain is confused at the sight. Rather than being military ships, he finds them without any identification markings. The Republic High Command later informs them that these ships were independent privateers they recruited to help them due to the fleet being spread thin. They are ordered to let the ships pass. An all-clear signal is given, and the flotilla speeds closer. Yet they approach too fast, and the Admiral urges them to slow down. When they receive no response, the ships begin to fire upon the new arrivals. While half the ships are destroyed, the others reach their target and slam into the Republic fleet. Suddenly, blinding explosions of red and yellow blossom across the ships as they are consumed by fire. Klaxons blare and the ships scatter, some still burning as their crew send frantic messages. Those ships had actually contained iridium and were used as fire ships, and were actually ships used by the Shadow Collective. They left nearly a third of the Republic fleet destroyed or badly damaged. This leaves them without the strength to continue the campaign, and instead the fleet limps back home to Coruscant. This defeat is a disaster for the Republic, which desperately needs to show strength, but this defeat leaves them looking weaker than ever. The war was the one bright spot in this whole affair, as at least they were winning. To have lost so many men, not even fighting the CIS, was a huge humiliation for the Republic, and many see it as a waste. The temple's halls are dark with unease. In chamber after chamber, Jedi sift through intercepted messages, bribery trails, and sealed Senate orders. The first thing they did when they got back was to figure out just what went wrong, and Obi-Wan pores over all the communications and reports before the battle to figure out where the flotilla came from. And then, at last, he sees it. A communication with a shipping officer, one who has ties with the Hutt cartels.
All of this leads back to the Hutts. Shipping delays, redirected supplies, entire fleets lost to false orders. It isn't a coincidence. The Senate has been compromised.
Then there is no saving them.
As they look deeper, they see multiple senators involved in this affair. Apparently, the Hutts had offered a generous deal to transport their supplies for a fraction of the cost, provided that the senators waive any of the usual security checks. The Jedi Council convenes one final vote. The decision is made, and the Jedi will move openly. They will no longer wait for the Republic to destroy itself. They call for a complete anti-corruption campaign, not just here, but also in other areas to investigate corruption. They want to know how many more senators might have shady business dealings like this. Mas Amata tries to calm tensions down. While he admits that what is happening is regrettable, they cannot risk fighting now. He urges calm and promises to set up a committee to look into it. To the Jedi, it sounds like the Senate will merely investigate itself and instead conduct an independent investigation on its own. They begin to look through data files, interrogate informants, and patrol on the streets. In their raids across the underworld, they find more and more senators being named in the ledgers of the Black Sun, Pikes, and Hutts. Armored Jedi strike teams storm senatorial offices. Records are seized. Corrupt aides detained. Whole blocks of Coruscant locked down. The Senate erupts in fury, accusing the Jedi of exceeding their authority and calling for them to step down and cease these investigations. Loyalist senators demand the Jedi's removal, and in an emergency session, they pass a decree stripping the order of its military authority. But not all stand against them. Senators swayed by conscience or by Hutt gold side with the Jedi. The Republic fractures, the Grand Army splinters, entire battalions declare for the Council, while others pledge loyalty to the Senate. Most of the Coruscant Guard remains with the Chancellor and attempts to march to the Temple, but encounter many battalions still loyal to the Republic. For the first time in the war, clones fire upon clones, refusing to surrender. They manage to drive the Coruscant Guard back, but the damage is done. Now the Jedi are declared traitors and ordered to be killed on sight. Amidst all of this, chaos continues to grow as Maul and his allies play their part. Images on Holo flicker around the planet. Riots on Coruscant, clone legions marching against each other, separatist fleets probing new worlds. Each crime syndicate plays its part. The Hutts buy senators, twisting votes until nothing can be passed. Pikes ignite unrest in supply hubs, choking Republic trade. And the Black Sun sparks riots that force clone deployments, bleeding the Grand Army dry. The Jedi see corruption. The Senate sees betrayal. To Maul, it is music, a symphony of chaos that he plays. He does not intend to take over the Republic, but reduce it into a collection of vassals. Savage grins, fangs glinting in the dim light, as fresh reports of chaos unfold. He decides it is time to reveal himself. Maul allows his name to surface, a captured shipment of heavy weapons traced to a group of senators friendly towards Mas Amata. All of them carry Mandalorian codes. Whispers reach the Jedi. Maul has resurfaced, dealing in arms while the Republic burns. For Obi-Wan, it is a confirmation. The Jedi Temple is silent. Fires burn across Coruscant, smoke drifting past the Senate Dome. Reports of clone-on-clone skirmishes echo through the halls.
The Senate call us traitors. People think we're tyrants. And now we're chasing rumors while the galaxy burns. This is pointless. It isn't pointless, Anakin. The weapons seized on Coruscant all trace back to Mandalorian codes. And who else would profit from such chaos but Maul?
We should be fighting the Senate, not running after old enemies.
If Maul is alive, if he is orchestrating this, then all of it makes sense. The Senate, the gangs, the riots, the supply failures. He's pulling the strings, Anakin. And if we don't stop him now, there won't be a Republic left to save. But if we stop him here, we can prevent this.
So we're riding off again? Are you sure this isn't you getting worked up about something? Wanting to settle old scores?
I wish it was, honestly. It would make things a lot easier.
All right. One last mission, then.
They track down the shipment to a small station in the Outer Rim. Given the demands of war, they cannot take any of their men with them. The smuggler's port hangs in space above a dying world, its docking rings crowded with freighters and crates of stolen arms. The Jedi step from their shuttle, sabers ready. Almost at once, the shadows move. Savage Opress emerges first, towering, his saberstaff hissing scarlet. Behind him from the darkness, Maul steps forward, cloak trailing, eyes burning.
Kenobi, Skywalker, you bring yourselves to me at last.
You'll regret ever crawling out of that hole, Maul. I wasn't old enough to face you before. I am now.
It didn't go so well when you tried with me.
Together, Anakin. We finish this.
Savage barrels forward, swinging with raw power as his weapon nearly takes his head off. Anakin meets him head-on, blades shattering sparks against metal walls. The blow leaves him staggering, but Obi-Wan slides and strikes him behind the knee, nearly sending him into the ground. The massive warrior manages to block his next blow, though, and sends Obi-Wan back. But before he can attack again, Maul comes to his side, smirking as their lightsabers clash in a storm of blows. Every blow is heavy with memory. Satine's death, years of hatred, all of what they have lost. Now that rage explodes outward. Maul roars as these memories flash across his mind. He whirls his weapon around and rains down attacks on him. With a defiant snarl, his lightsaber whirls of what they both lost.
You cannot save them, Kenobi. You cannot save anything.
He drags the weapon across the ground, leaving deep gouges across the ground and sending sparks flying towards Obi-Wan. The Jedi screams as bits of exposed flesh are singed. This leaves him struggling to block his next attack. Obi-Wan's defense is precise, but Maul is relentless. At the same time, Anakin drives Savage back with raw power, every blow cracking durasteel. But the brute absorbs it. He almost seems amused before countering with monstrous swings. A sudden kick sends Anakin sprawling, his blade nearly flying from his hand. Obi-Wan tries to cover him, but Maul seizes the moment, driving him back with a storm of slashes, his yellow eyes burning with hatred. Unable to help his student, Anakin is left to his own devices. Savage hammers him against a bulkhead. Sparks shower as the wall dents behind each blow. As his momentum stalls, the young Jedi launches a desperate strike, but Savage catches his wrist in a crushing grip. With a sickening crack, Anakin drops his saber. The Zabrak's blade flashes, plunging through his chest. Anakin gasps, eyes wide, before crumpling to the floor.
No!
Obi-Wan steps closer, but Maul is already upon him. The duel becomes a storm, red against blue. For a moment, Obi-Wan drives Maul back, grief giving his blade power, but Savage joins his brother, and together they overwhelm him. Obi-Wan blocks high, then low, but two blades strike as one, battering his defenses. His arms tremble, his footing slips. Maul's blade pierces him cleanly through the chest. Obi-Wan gasps, eyes fixed on his old enemy. With a final push, Obi-Wan collapses beside Anakin, their sabers extinguished. And with that, the Jedi Order loses its two best generals. They are no closer to ending the war, which continues to rage on. Mas Amata watches the chaos unfolding, his power slipping away. This forces him to do the unthinkable, to reach out to the Shadow Collective through the Hutts and request their support through their trade routes, supplying weapons and keeping their enemies in line. This starts with the CIS, as he's cultivated deep relations with much of the Separatist Council. Many of those leaders are not interested in serving the will of the Sith, but only their pockets. The promise of wealth from the Shadow Collective is enough to convince most of them to slowly support Dooku, cutting off his momentum at the ankles. While he continues to pose a threat, the two factions are left badly weakened and thrown into chaos. And with chaos, the Shadow Collective can thrive. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.